Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep into the world of Mob Control, that popular mobile game.
Hmm.
But we're doing it through a specific lens today. We're really focusing on its most dedicated players.
Right, the community. One's chatting, sharing, sometimes, yeah, venting over on the game's Reddit page.
Exactly. So we've pulled together a bunch of insights directly from, the source.
Yeah, actual posts from players. You get glimpses of community announcements, too. It's like the real-time pulse of the game from the people playing it daily on Robot Control Game.
So our mission here is to kind of get past the official developer notes and really understand how these changes and it's just the game itself are landing with people.
What are the key takeaways? What's, frustrating them? What are they actually excited about?
And maybe what keeps them tapping away, despite any frustrations. Let's try and cut through the noise, find the core insights into Mob Control's current state, straight from the players.
Okay, so where should we start? Maybe with what's been happening on the developer side, at least according to what the community is discussing.
Good idea. There's definitely news about upcoming seasons and content.
Yeah. The immediate next one is apparently called Mobzilla 2.
Right, and what seems interesting there, based on the posts, is the goal seems to be explicitly helping free-to-play players.
Helping them get their hands on the Mobzilla champion, maybe if they missed out before or couldn't get him.
Makes sense.
And then after Mobzilla 2 finishes up, the buzz is about a new defense tower.
Oh, any specifics?
Well, the community posts are speculating could be a Flamo or missile tower or something like that. But they also admit, hey, it could be something completely new.
Okay, so some anticipation there.
And then after the tower, a new champion is planned. There's even a little whisper, though it wasn't like confirmed in the posts we saw, that maybe this new champ arrives with a new adventure mode.
Okay, so potential big content drops down the line.
Definitely. And beyond the big gameplay stuff, sounds like they're doing some tidying up too.
Like what?
Mention of new cosmetic things, collection items, like a new avatar from some collection event coming up.
Right.
And apparently another freebie avatar just for, like, check in the mob store webpage. Simple stuff.
Okay, small perks.
Yeah.
What about technical improvements? Anything on that front?
Yeah, some important quality of life things mentioned. One post said gameplay was optimized.
Which hopefully means, what? Smoother performance, less lag?
That's the hope, yeah. And the end looting screen looks a little cleaner. Small thing, but, welcome.
Every little bit helps.
Apparently the multiplier X's make more sense now. Just clarifying how those bonuses are shown, which is always good.
Definitely need clarity there. No, there's also something more fundamental being tested. An armory thing.
Right, this armory level introduction beta. Sounds like it's going to link your armory level, your overall progression, basically to unlocking different tiers of booster packs at certain points.
Ah, okay. So changing how you maybe get access to new units as you level up.
Seems like it. It's beta, so the full details aren't quite clear from the posts, but yes, suggests they're thinking about that core progression loop.
Interesting. Okay, what about characters? Any balance changes stirring up conversation?
Oh, yeah. The community sources report some tiny nerfs and also some potentially pretty significant buffs.
All right, let's break those down. Great Normie first, he's key for loot, right?
Super key. He got a small tweak, described as a tiny nerf. Basically, the time he stays on screen after he delivers his hit, that was slowed down just slightly, zero point 0.4 seconds.
Okay, 0.4 seconds doesn't sound like much.
Well, and this is the player perspective coming through. They also mentioned his, speech blurbs were reduced.
Ah,
Yeah, apparently that was part of it. And the feeling is, with the overall game optimization, they also mentioned, players might not actually notice much difference in loot drops from him.
so the nerf might feel negligible in practice.
That seems to be the takeaway, yeah.
Yeah.
The perceived impact might be minimal.
Okay. What about the big guy, Mobzilla? Getting a boost.
Looks like it. Mobzilla reportedly hatches a lot faster now, which is pretty huge for getting him deployed.
Definitely. Any downsides?
There's this one confusing note in the post, something about charging the champion is 10% more expensive.
What does that even mean?
The player writing wasn't sure either what it means in practical terms, but they immediately followed up by saying, look, the overall vibe is the Kaiju Beastie is even more rad now because that faster hatch time is such a big deal.
Right, that speed boost probably outweighs any confusing cost thing.
Seems like it.
Okay, and on the Tiny Nuff side again, Starscream.
Correct. His ability, the strafe run, the cooldown went up from 6 seconds to 10 seconds.
Oh, that's a noticeable jump.
It is, but he still apparently starts with one charge ready when he spawns. You just wait longer for the next ones.
Any idea why?
The player reporting it speculated maybe it's to stop him from making certain battles too easy, like the Lucky Battle event.
Hmm.
But interestingly, they also said after testing him, honestly, he doesn't feel weaker overall to them. So maybe it affects specific scenarios more than general use.
Interesting. Any other major buffs? Syrian sounded like he got some love.
Oh, definitely. Syrian's buff range was made like huge.
What?
Like 4x bigger was the description.
Rav.
And players can see it now. There's a big yellow area indicator. Plus, the effect of the buff was upped by 80%.
80%. That's massive.
Yeah, so this makes Syrian, according to the player reports anyway, a potentially decent alternative to try out. Could really shake up army comps.
Okay, that's a significant change. And finally, Nexus. That unit comes up a lot. Any news?
The source post was pretty blunt. No news on possible Nexus buffs, straight up.
Uh.
But the fact that the person posting still raised it as a question tells you it's definitely still on the community's mind. Something they're hoping gets addressed eventually.
Right, keeps the conversation going. Okay, so we've got the developer roadmap, some key balance tweaks covered. Now let's pivot.
To the other side of the coin, right? The player experience.
Exactly. How does all this stuff and just playing the game day to day actually feel to the people, in the trenches? What are the big highs and maybe more notably the lows reported?
Well, one of the most consistently highlighted points of frustration seems to be this thing they call the star rank change alert.
Oh, yeah, I saw mentions of that. What is it? Why is it such a pain point?
Okay, picture this. Every single time you finish upgrading a building, this big alert pops up, tells you your star rank changed.
Every single time.
Every building completion. Players describe it as extremely disruptive and annoying.
I can imagine.
And what makes it worse, apparently, is it only triggers for buildings, not when you get stars from winning battles or collecting from towers or, seasonal rewards.
Huh. That's weirdly specific.
Right. So the inconsistency makes it feel less like useful info and more like maybe an intentional time waster. And wait, there's a bug reported too. If you manage to start a battle really quickly after a building finishes, the alert can actually pop up over the battle screen.
No.
Yeah, and you apparently can't close it. Makes it impossible to play the battle you just started.
Wow. That sounds incredibly frustrating, especially, I guess, during those timed buff windows.
Exactly. That's when it's apparently most annoying when you're trying to maximize your gains during the 2x buff. Having the screen blocked mid-battle is, yeah.
Wow, that sounds like a design choice straight from the annoyance department. And does this tie into a bigger confusion, maybe, about the stars themselves?
It seems to. Players are asking pretty directly, are stars worth anything except the prestige illusion?
Meaning
they feel like gaining stars. Sure, your rank number goes up, but it doesn't seem to give them tangible rewards that actually help. Like skip its and, the currency for opening packs or gold.
Right, the stuff you need to actually get stronger.
Exactly. So it feels like progression that doesn't really help you progress where it counts. Just a number.
Okay, I see the frustration there. And speaking of frustrating design, ads, that came up a lot.
Oh boy, yeah. Ads are a massive issue right now, based on the posts.
I mean, free-to-play games have ads. People generally get that. But what's the specific problem here?
It's the length. This is a major source of player anger. The reports are pretty consistent. The vast majority of ads are 30 seconds or longer.
30 seconds or longer.
Yep. And you know that crucial 2x window we mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
Where you're trying to cram in actions?
Yeah, trying to be efficient.
Well, these long ads really chew up that limited time. It makes it hard to actually benefit properly from the buff.
Ugh. I can see that. Are players speculating why?
Yeah, there's talk among them maybe the developers are tweaking the business model.
How so?
Like maybe pushing longer ads just get some more revenue even if it hurts the player experience. Or maybe it's a subtle push towards buying skiffits to avoid the long ads.
Right, the pay-to-skip frustration model.
Could be. Regardless of the why, the sentiment is overwhelming. Players find this really annoying. Capital letters emphasis in the posts. It directly impacts how they play efficiently.
Yeah, that sounds like a major friction point. Okay, so ads are bad. What about players who are, way further along, high-level players? Does the experience change for them?
It seems to, yeah. The feeling reported is that for players deep into the game, the later stages, it becomes significantly more tedious.
Tedious how?
While there are mentions of running into impossible troll levels,
Roll level.
levels that seem designed just to be unwinnable or incredibly difficult, maybe just to slow players down.
Yeah.
It leads to them apparently quitting matches frequently rather than wasting time.
So just abandoning the fight.
Yeah, and late game matches in general are described as almost unplayable sometimes and getting really annoying. It just culminates in this pervasive feeling that they're wasting time by playing at that level.
Wow, that paints a pretty bleak picture for the dedicated long-term players.
It does. And there's even a quote that really captured this this internal conflict some players seem to feel.
What was that?
Yeah, one player just summed it up perfectly. Described the game as simultaneously addicting and annoying and just feels like a waste of time all at once.
Addicting and annoying. That's quite the combo.
Isn't it? And this same player expressed regret having spent, they said, a good amount of money on past events, like completing all 50 tiers of a previous Mobzilla event.
Ouch.
Yeah, only to now feel this strong sense of frustration and, well, wasted time and maybe money. It really highlights a tension there.
That combination of feelings, addiction, and annoyance is really fascinating. But, okay, despite these pretty significant pain points we've talked about,
Yeah, the alerts, the ads, the high-level grind.
something must be keeping players coming back, right? What are the positive notes, the bright spots mentioned in the community?
Well, the standout positive, like explicitly called out in multiple posts, seems to be the space race event.
Okay, space race. What makes that event so different, so appealing to them?
Players describe it as just fun to play.
Yeah.
And crucially, it allows them to make progress really fast.
Ah, so it feels rewarding, unlike maybe the main progression sometimes.
Exactly. For at least one player, they flat out said it's the only thing keeping them from deleting the game entirely right now.
Wow, that's a strong endorsement for one event.
It really is. There was also a note that the Seraphic Tier space race is no joke, suggesting it offers, a good challenge, but one that feels ultimately rewarding, feels like real progression.
Gotcha. Any other maybe smaller moments of joy people mentioned?
Yeah, definitely. You see players sharing their personal bests, in Space Race, or maybe how much loot they got in a run, little victories.
Nice.
New players are also popping up on the subreddit saying they're loving the game just after starting out, which is always good to see.
Sure.
And there was just a simple, relatable note from one player who said they just enjoy watching their mobs upgrade, seeing how they look different. Those small satisfactions matter too.
Absolutely. So, okay, beyond just reacting to the updates and the good bad stuff, it's clear the community is active, asking a lot of questions too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. What are some of the ongoing discussions or, unresolved questions swirling around?
Well, the forum shows players trying to figure things out that aren't necessarily spelled out in official posts,
Like what?
For example, people asking if the developers plan to add levels beyond the current maximum. Seems some players feel like they're getting close to the end and are worried about hitting a wall, basically.
The what's next anxiety.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And lots of questions about specific mechanics or events, too.
Exactly. Things like, what exactly are Gold Rush days and when do they even happen? People seem unsure.
Right.
There's curiosity about how you actually get certain rare units, specifically the Transformer champions were mentioned.
Okay.
Players reporting potential bugs and asking for explanations like why the first fortress, that initial building you attack, isn't taking damage sometimes in battle.
Yeah.
Is it a bug? Is it a feature?
Good question.
Yeah. Questions about whether new cheats are circulating. And a really specific one. Are the coins you get from bonus levels supposed to not count towards your piggy race total? Seems counterintuitive, maybe. These kinds of questions just show players are really digging into the mechanics, trying to understand how it all works or should work.
Definitely shows an engaged player base, even with the frustrations. Okay, so pulling it all together then.
Yeah, the big picture.
We've seen the developers laying out plans, right?
Yeah.
New seasons like Mobzilla 2, new towers, new champions, potentially.
Plus those optimizations and the Armory beta testing and tweaking existing units. Great Normie, Mobzilla, Starscream, Syrian getting buffs and slight nerfs.
Right. And the community's reaction is, well, it's a real mixed bag, isn't it?
Absolutely. They're clearly grappling with some genuinely frustrating elements. That star rank alert is a big one.
And the feeling that stars lack real value, plus that particularly painful issue of significantly longer ads, really eating into crucial gameplay time.
Yeah, the ad length seems huge. And for those further along, that sense of tedium, the difficult, sometimes seemingly impossible levels, that's a major complaint.
Yet, despite all this, despite some players literally describing the game using that difficult combination. Addicting and annoying and just feels like a waste of time.
They're still finding redeeming qualities. The space race event really stands out as a key driver keeping them engaged, it seems.
It really highlights that core challenge, doesn't it? That whole free-to-play mobile model.
Definitely. That tightrope walk.
Which kind of leaves us with a thought for you, the listener, to consider. In a game like Mob Control, how do developers navigate that?
Yeah, how do they balance the, let's face it, absolute necessity of generating revenue through ads, through purchases, with creating a positive, engaging, and maybe not tedious experience?
Especially for those most dedicated players, the ones who've reached those challenging later stages.
And what aspects of the game design itself might inherently contribute to both that feeling of being addictive and those points of frustration we heard about today?
Something to think about, maybe, as you encounter similar dynamics in the apps and games you use every day.